Baruch Hashem.
Gesundheit!
Why atheism should not exist? Well, the first reason atheism should not exist is it's just plain dumb.
I don't think that's a glass house you want to go throwing stones in, Schneider.
How does something come from nothing?
Wow, seriously? Like this hasn't been answered over and over again for decades? Get your seatbelts on, people. Here we go again. First off, atheism is not the idea that something comes from nothing. It's the idea that there's no proof of God. We could stop there and the question will be sufficiently answered, but of course we're gonna keep going. So, is it really a good question? You know, maybe I shouldn't be too hard on him. I mean, it's not as if a prominent scientist wrote a popular best-selling book on the subject or anything. Ooh, well, that's embarrassing for you then, Schneider. Here's the thing. Is complete philosophical nothingness even possible? I mean nothing at all. No matter, no energy, no quantum foam, no space-time, no nothing. Well, if you don't have space, then you don't have anything for nothing to not exist in. And if you don't have time, then there's not a moment of time when there is nothing. But even if you could, let's say you have a space and a moment of time where there's actual nothing. What would happen? You'd instantly get something because nothing is actually a very unstable system. You see, there are an infinite number of ways you can have something, but only one way you can have nothing. So actual nothingness, even if it were possible, would instantly be followed up by something. And that reveals the contradiction. Religious nincompoops like Schneider want you to imagine that nothing would just continue on being nothing forever. But in order for that to be the case, there would have to be something that holds the state of nothing stable. But then there would be something, which means there wouldn't be nothing. So even if you did have nothing, it would always and instantly result in something. But the fact is, there never was anything that could be considered nothingness. From the instant of the Big Bang, there was something, even if it's just the singularity. And before you go on about there being nothing before the Big Bang, since space and time formed during the Big Bang, there is no concept of before the Big Bang. It's a meaningless construct. It's like asking what's north of the North Pole.
I mean, it's the most basic, simple truth in all of the universe. I mean, it's beyond common sense. How did something come from nothing? It had to start somewhere. And whenever you identify where it started, the question then is asked, where did that come from? And that same question will continue to be asked forever unless the question is stopped.
Except that's not a valid question. Like I said, space and time were formed in the Big Bang. The only answer to where it started is everywhere, because every point in the universe comes from that starting position at time zero. Is it really too much to ask for people like Schneider to even try and understand the science before mouthing off about it?
Because there is a cause that exists that had no cause. In other words, there's a first cause.
That absolutely has to be the shittiest explanation of the prime mover argument I've ever heard. And anyway, he completely contradicted himself. There's no cause that exists that had no cause, but there's a first cause. Hey, moron! If there's a first cause, then that cause couldn't have had a cause. The only way for there to be no cause that exists that had no cause is for there to be an infinite chain of causality going on backwards forever. So there is, according to you, at least one cause, the first cause, that had no cause, and now you've just peed on your own parade. Since we now have an example of an uncaused cause, you've admitted that uncaused causes are in fact possible. And so you've debunked your own premise that there are no uncaused causes. I mean, you didn't even need a book written by a physicist for this one. 2 seconds of thought would have got you there.
It's the only answer, that there is a being that has always been. Otherwise, again, you'll forever be asking the question, where did that come from? Where did the Big Bang come from?
Again, space-time is local to the Big Bang, so it didn't come from anywhere since there's no space anywhere for it to have come from. And in order for something to have a cause, there needs to be a moment in time before the thing exists in order to cause it. But again, time formed in the Big Bang, so there was no such moment in time.
And then I think about the fact that human beings, we appreciate what is good in terms of people celebrate mercy. We celebrate compassion. There's so much happening in our society right now that is being celebrated because...
Geez Louise, will you get to the point?
Underdogs are getting opportunities, and everybody likes to see an underdog get an opportunity. There's a basic goodness within humankind. For example, have you ever felt love for somebody? Have you ever felt love for a husband, a wife, a child, a friend? Of course. Well, let me ask you this question. Isn't love a spiritual thing? Can love be explained by an explosion that happened in outer space? Can love be explained, the phenomenon of it, by something that was birthed because of two types of chemicals that somehow collide with each other, and boom, there was life, there was the ability to love, there was consciousness, there was the ability to do good? None of that has anything to do with science. Science is good, but God is beyond science. Science is not the end, and it can't explain. Science could not explain love.
Geez, what a long-winded way of getting to yet another long-debunked point. Neurology, ethology, and evolutionary psychology explain it very well, thank you very much. Again, could you at least try to understand the science before shooting off your stupid mouth?
I remember many years ago, I was in Uganda, and we were doing an outreach there, and my team and I were at the hotel one morning, and we went out to get some breakfast.
This is gonna be another long-winded story to try to explain some trite point that you could have explained in 3 seconds, isn't it?
And it was beautiful and sunny, and the weather was warm, and all the tables were outside. Everybody was eating outside under that beautiful African sun. And as my team and I were sitting at our table, there was another young woman there that we obviously didn't know her. She was Caucasian. She was the only other Caucasian in the hotel because we were in Uganda. It's an African country. And so this young girl, she was probably in her upper 20s.
Seriously?
She wanted to know what we were doing there. So she came up to our table. She said, who are you? Can I sit down with you? I said, please sit down. So we started talking, and I asked about her, and she was a scientist. She was there doing something with medical research. And then I told her what I was doing there. And she said, well, I don't believe in God. I said, that's too bad. I said, how do you explain the fact that you have self-awareness?
Took you long enough. What you're actually talking about is known to scientists as metacognition. And we can actually learn a lot about that by observing children, because human children aren't actually self-aware at birth. It develops over about 1.5 years, and there's a lot of neurological development that goes into it. The science is there for you to read about anytime you want to. But yeah, thanks for mentioning the tables being outside in the African sun, because that was totally necessary to the point.
I said, consider that rose behind you. I don't know if it was a rose, it was a beautiful flower. I said, look at that flower. I said, where does beauty come from?
It's a subjective evaluation. It doesn't come from anywhere. There's no property of beauty in the universe. You're talking about phenomena that are localized to our neurology. Things that we, due to genetics or upbringing or culture or whatever, have developed to have certain responses in the anterior insula, which is part of the cerebral cortex. It's called neuroaesthetics. Again, you can just read about it. That is, if you were concerned with actually learning the truth instead of coming up with gotcha questions to trap atheists who aren't even experts in what you're asking them about.
And then I challenged her with the ability that we have as human beings to love. And we talked for a few minutes, 15 minutes or so, and I shared a little bit more about what I was doing, and she asked a bit about our outreach that was going to be taking place that night. And so sure enough, she came that night. And she stood out because there was only about,
Oh, for the love of Mike.
So she stood out and she was real close. And God was moving powerfully. And so I actually had one of our ushers go to her and bring her up to the platform because I wanted her to see what God was doing. And it was one of the most amazing nights. It was so surreal that I've ever had in my life. I was on the platform. I believe it was in Gulu, Uganda. And as I began to sing in the spirit, demons started manifesting. I mean, again, 30,000 to 50,000 people there.
Wait a minute. What did he just say?
Demons started manifesting.
This has to be an expression, right? He doesn't actually mean demons appeared right there before everyone, right?
I mean, again, 30,000 to 50,000 people there. And as I just began to sing in the spirit, 100 or so people, probably more, just started manifesting demons. I'm talking about screaming, shrieking, rolling on the ground, foaming at the mouth. I'm sorry to, but this is what was going on. The eyes rolled back in the back of the head.
I'm just gonna move on.
So there was one woman up that was close to the platform where I was ministering from. and she was manifesting really badly. So I told the ushers, bring her on the platform. And they brought her on the platform, and she was like all over the place flailing. You can actually search me more on YouTube and just search under demons. And I'm sure if you look under my name and demons, you'll see demons being exorcised, cast out of people while I'm in Africa. We have some videotape on that. But anyway, they bring her up on the platform, and I begin to take authority over Satan and the powers of darkness on the platform, and I'm holding the mic in my hand as I'm commanding Satan and his demons to leave this woman that was manifesting so violently.
If that ever actually happens, and not just in a bullshit story you tell to your unthinking flock, I sincerely hope your actual response will be to call for an ambulance and get them some medical attention. I mean, it sounds like someone having an epileptic fit or a myoclonic seizure or something like that. Or even maybe a neurological infection. Uganda does have a national ambulance service, you know. Come on, man, do something other than lay on hands and yell, "Be gone, demon."
And when I took authority over Satan and his demons, over that woman, when I was ministering to that woman, and I commanded the demons to leave with the microphone in my hand, instantly, 100 people or more in the crowd started manifesting demons.
Yeah, this is sounding like a pretty serious epidemic to me. I'd be calling the Ugandan equivalent of the CDC at this point.
And it was like pandemonium. And it was a violent, strong manifestation. I mean, they're punching, screaming, flailing, running, shouting, screeching, and it was violent. And it was like unbelievable what was happening in the crowd. It was like pandemonium. I literally felt like I was in the book of Acts, and I was back in the book of Acts. And I was really concerned that the platform that I was standing on was going to get run over. We were this close to mass hysteria. But praise God, the Lord was there. The people that manifested got delivered by and large, as far as I know. All of them did. I don't know, but I mean, I'm assuming.
You're assuming? You didn't follow up with them or anything? What kind of rabbi are you?
That's what we see God doing. The woman on the platform that I was ministering to, she got set free. But the point is, and the reason I told the story,
about damn time,
is the scientist that we met at the hotel that morning during breakfast. She was at the meeting during this uprising. She was on the platform. She witnessed the entire thing. Here was this scientist that didn't believe in the supernatural, that is seeing right before her very eyes the confrontation between the literal Spirit of God with the realm of darkness, and she saw the reality of it.
Yeah, if she responded with anything other than call an ambulance, these people need medical attention, then it's funny how I don't believe this story for a second.
Because when you look into people's eyes that are possessed by a demon, inhabited by a demon and controlled by a demon, when you look in their eyes, you can see that you're looking at something from another realm, something that's not of this world. And to see those eyes that had just a moment ago been taken with something from another world, some horror, in some other realm, when you see those same eyes, when you take authority over those demons in that person, in the name of Yeshua, and then those eyes begin to clear up right as I'm witnessing it. They go from horror and terror and hysteria, all of a sudden they're cleared and they're peaceful, and you see the love of God coming through. They've been set free, and you see the beauty of the human soul. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think I'll hang around people who would get me to a hospital if something like that happened, rather than waiting for the love of God to come through in my eyes.
That atheist saw that last night. You know, that she saw that night, and then the next thing that happened was that next morning. That's why I said last night, because I was thinking of the next scene.
Oh my God, can you ever get directly to a point?
This young scientist is there, and I'm in line. I'm just picking some things up, putting some things on my plate for breakfast. And she comes up to me and she said, "I want to thank you for your wisdom." She became a believer. She saw the reality of the power of God.
Yeah, as unconvincing as the statement of conversion is at the best of times, it just comes across as pathetic when it's the statement of someone else's conversion. Someone you haven't even named, and so we have no way of even verifying it. Oh, well, she lives in Uganda. You wouldn't know her.
But you know what? We shouldn't need proof.
Yeah, because you're not getting too many converts if that's the case. But you never did get around to saying why atheism should not exist. You just mindlessly spewed some long-debunked talking points and then told a story about how medically irresponsible you are.
God is alive. And I'm going to pick this video up. Be watching, because I'm going to be speaking more about why atheism is just stupid. God bless you, and thank you for watching today.
Wow, do you not even know how to end a simple live stream? Hey, Hey, thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe and keep these videos coming by donating, becoming a subscriber and getting special benefits, or even for free with airtime. And check out all the great content here, like this video selected just for you.